because nobody wants to miss a potentially explosive Carling Cup tie. A quarter-final between arch rivals Birmingham City and Aston Villa. It's live on Sky Sports HD2 and 2 this evening. And Villa's cup win 14 years ago, the last piece of silverware won by either of these two fierce rivals. There's more at stake than local pride, though, this evening. Much more, in fact. A place in the last four of the Carling Cup awaits. What an incentive that is, especially when you consider that all the so-called big guns, bar Arsenal, are already out of the competition. With me this evening to watch this, the two Allans, McAnally and Kirbishley. Alan McAnally, I know you've played in this sort of derby before. What's the atmosphere going to be like out there?
Oh, it'll be fantastic, Jeff. As a football player, if you don't look forward to games like this, then you're in the wrong business. At the time when I was at Villa, Birmingham were not really doing as well, but the fixtures changed completely now. You know, modern day era, this is a proper Midlands derby, and it feels like it tonight. You can sense when you arrive at the ground, there's a lot more at stake than just pride here. This is a cup competition that I think both of them fancy themselves, for the simple reason that you said some of the big guns are not in it anymore.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because it's an unusual situation for Birmingham in some respects, Alan, because they're not going into a derby as big underdogs.
No. I mean, there's not a lot in it in the league position, which is unusual. Normally, Villa, over the years, are above Birmingham in the league, and there's a lot of confidence outside from the Birmingham fans. I think that they see this as an opportunity to get to a semi-final and also beat the Villa. So I'm looking forward to this.
Of course, both sides locked on 17 points in the Premier League at the moment, and when they met in the Premier League, nothing to divide them either. Let's hear the views of both managers, shall we? First of all, Alec McLeish talking with Andy Burton.
Alex, everybody loves the derby. Are you particularly pumped up for this one? It's an exciting night in prospect, isn't it?
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, very much so. Since Saturday, nobody's spoken about anything else, so it's a big opportunity for both clubs, but I would think that in our history that we might not get a better chance of getting to semi-finals having had another home tie. You know, it's not so much that I think we're better than Villa, because I definitely don't think that. We're two pretty evenly matched teams, but we've got the home advantage, and I'd like to think we can capitalise.
Just talk through the team news and the indication that gives us of just how serious this match is. I mean, you couldn't play a weakened team in a derby like this, could you?
No, not when you want to go to a semi-final. Maybe Man United and Arsenal and teams like that. Chelsea can do it, but we certainly can play weakened teams. And even in the early part of the competition, I didn't think I was playing weakened teams. I just felt that I was playing players who were a bit rusty and hadn't played together and didn't have a real understanding that the guys that were playing regularly in the Barclays Premier were having. So that was that's probably a factor. And I wouldn't say we struggled in the previous rounds, but there were some good performances. But you could see one or two things had us looking a bit rusty.
Manchester United's exit from the competition yesterday give everyone a boost in this competition, do you think? They all think they can win it now?
I don't think because Man U are out, because it means that other teams are on the ascendancy. West Ham have had a fantastic couple of results, and their confidence will now be sky high, so they'll feel they can beat anybody as well. And it shows, it's shown in the league already, and it's now shown in the cup that anybody can win these games.
Enjoy it tonight. Talk to you after. Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Gerard, have you noticed an edge around the city this week? People being pumped up and excited about this game?
Yes, a lot of people talk to me about the derby, but it must remain a game of football before. I told the players, obviously, the derby is a quarter-final of the cup, but first of all, it's a game of football, and we must entertain the crowds and make sure we enjoy our game ourselves.
Talk to us about your team. Gabby's back in today. Is it pretty much as strong as you could have named, and did you have to do that, bearing in mind the intensity of this rivalry?
We have long-term injury, but you know them. Unfortunately, Stephen Ireland would have been playing, but had a bug and he was sick and couldn't train yesterday and the day before. But he's a bit better, so today he'll be on the bench. Otherwise, yes, the team is as strong as it can be.
You had a good time in this competition in your Liverpool days, didn't you? 2 wins in 5 years. You know what a boost it can give a football club. What would it mean to Villa? You're 4 wins away from the final and winning it.
That's exactly the message I try to put across to the players. I mean, we're not very far from Wembley, but obviously the key moment is probably this game because it's away from home and a difficult encounter with good opposition. But we've got to give a good account of ourselves and probably go for the final.
Good luck. Wrap up.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Alan Kirbysh, we all heard about Villa's injury problems. Are you concerned, Hogg, Bannon and Clark in the heart of that midfield, that they are just too inexperienced for a night like this?
Obviously Villa have got their injury problems, but when you look at that side, it's the normal back five, and really Downing, Abongalahor and Young, it's not bad, it's not far off their front three. It is that midfield department where they've been hit badly by injuries, and that's Birmingham's perhaps strongest department with Bowyer, experience anyway with Bowyer and Ferguson and Larson, so that may be an area where Birmingham may get a grip of it.
Another chance for Zigic, who hasn't impressed everyone so far, Alan McInally. What have you made of him?
Well, at 6'8", when he jumps, he gives to about 5'2", Jeff. He's just an inch bigger than you. But he hasn't done brilliant, has he? And what they don't have, and Alan and I were speaking about this before the game, they don't get a lot of goals. And I think tonight, another reason that maybe Alex put him in is because for set pieces, you know, for someone like him to have for crosses, etc., for free kicks and corners, it's a big advantage. The only thing is, if you put him in a game like this, you got to get some return for him. It's a big game for Zigic tonight, and a chance for him to show exactly the Birmingham fans why Alex wants to play him this evening.
A chance for him to become a hero in front of these Birmingham fans, no question about that. Of course, this tie will be resolved this evening, even if it takes extra time and penalties, and we'll know who plays who a little later, because the Carling Cup semi-final draw will follow on Sky Sports HD1 and Sky Sports 1. And a reminder, of course, highlights of all four of the quarterfinals tomorrow, 6 o'clock, Sky Sports HD1 and 1. Atmosphere building up very nicely here. A real sense of expectation amongst those Birmingham City fans here this evening. They've not won in the last 7 against Villa. They feel that tonight could definitely be their night. Let's join our commentators, Don Goodman and Alan Parry.
Thanks, Jeff. No danger of weakened teams tonight. Both managers know only too well how much this means to the fans. Alec McLeish picks his strongest 11. Just one change from the starting lineup at Fulham on Saturday. Alexander Kleb is injured, so there's a place in attack for giant Serbia international Nikola Zigic. And to underline how seriously he's taking this, McLeish selects 2 of his most valued players, goalkeeper Ben Foster and striker Cameron Jerome, neither of whom has figured in any of the 3 previous ties in this season's competition. Aston Villa made 2 changes from the side that started Saturday's Premier League game against Arsenal. John Carew and Robert Pires both dropped down to the subs bench, replaced by young midfielder Jonathan Hogg and Gabriel Bonlahor, who missed the Arsenal game through illness. Villa have a terrific record in these derby clashes. They haven't lost against their local rivals for 5 years now, and they've also got a very impressive pedigree in the League Cup. Former Villa midfielder Craig Gardner is among the Birmingham substitutes tonight. Villa have a really strong bench, which includes Stephen Ireland, John Carew and Robert Pires. Freezing temperatures, but a red-hot atmosphere for a local derby that is guaranteed to be fiercely contested on and off the field. No one tries to pretend that this is just another game. Birmingham Villa is one of the biggest rivalries in English football, and with a semi-final place at stake tonight, there's even more spice than usual. Don, you played in plenty of derby games in your career. Do they mean as much to the players as they clearly do to the fans?
Well, some people would argue that maybe they don't, but you look down the starting lineups of both of these teams, they are mainly British-based, British players. They know more than anybody, coming from these shores, exactly what derby games really mean. So I think this one is slightly different to the norm. We've got lots of foreign players playing in Premier League teams, but these are 2 very heavily British-based sides, and they will know.
Well, if you look at the Premier League table, there's absolutely nothing between the teams in terms of points. So should we expect an equally close contest here?
Well, it's going to be tight, I think. I think most of Birmingham's recent games have been fairly tight. They're not the most prolific team in the world, but they are hard to break down, Birmingham City. And Villa may find that. So we can expect a pretty even game. We know in recent seasons that Villa have had much the better of it. Seem to have a hoodoo over Birmingham City, but I think the people from Birmingham City's perspective will feel that they've never had a better opportunity of putting one over on their old rivals than tonight.
And who do you think are the key players who could help to decide the outcome of this tie?
Well, there are a few, you know, from a Villa point of view. You're looking for their defence to hold up strong. You know, there's lots of experience back there, and they've just been leaking quite a lot of goals recently, which is unusual for them. So I think Villa's defence is going to have to play well. And in terms of Birmingham City, you know, again, they're not that prolific, but they need a bit of help for Cameron Jerome. They need a bit of support there to the forward players. And it's a question of how Villa's defenders are going to handle Birmingham's front two. They've got a big man and a quick man, and that can be lethal sometimes.
A full house, naturally, of around 28,000, with Aston Villa selling their allocation of 3,500 tickets. It's Birmingham's fourth successive home tie in the competition, and the previous three were all against opposition from League One. They beat Rochdale, MK Dons and Brentford in the last round. That went to a penalty shootout. And Birmingham are bidding to reach the semi-final for the first time in 10 seasons. On the last occasion, they went on to reach the final itself, losing against Liverpool again in a penalty shootout. They do have a poor record in the quarter-finals of cup competitions in recent times, though. They've lost 3 ties at this stage in both the League Cup and the FA Cup since that last success back in 2001. Chris Foy is our referee on a freezing cold evening here in the Midlands, but the St Andrews pitch looking absolutely perfect, and the ground staff have done a wonderful job preparing the stadium, as indeed have everyone who chipped in quite literally to clear the snow and ice from the car park and the stadium surrounds. Villa reached the final last season, of course, losing 2-1 to Manchester United. It was their 8th appearance in the final of this competition. Only Liverpool have figured in more. We're almost ready to go. Birmingham are a force to be reckoned with here at St Andrews, where they beat the champions Chelsea in their last home game. But when it comes to the League Cup, no club in the land has a better record than Aston Villa. Can last season's beaten finalists stay on course for a return to Wembley? Or would it finally be joy for Birmingham after years of finishing second best in the second city? We're live with the tie of the round. It has to be settled tonight. Birmingham against Villa, just moments away.